In this video, I wanted to share with you how I was able to 10x my income within a matter of few weeks using Neville Goddard's principles or his philosophies or techniques, whatever you want to call it. And what I actually wanted to do was take you through the entire journey that I went through, because sometimes I realized that we coaches, including myself, we have this tendency to just say that, okay, by using this technique, you can manifest this. But the reality of manifesting is it's more like this journey where you have to go through a certain kind of process, and sometimes you have to correct some of the things that you're doing in order to get from this point A to point B. And that's what I wanted to talk about in this video and share it with you. And by applying this process, I was able to take my income from roughly like $800 or $1,200. That was like kind of the range that I would earn in my photography business, all the way up to $12,000 pretty regularly there. And there were some months where I even went all the way up to like 15K. And that's what I wanted to share with you in this video. And if you're interested in learning about this, stay tuned and let's get started. Welcome back to this video. My name is Rav. I'm a manifesting coach, and if you want to work one-on-one with me, the link is down in the description box below, or you can simply email me at rav@ravempowers.com. And I also have this free guide, Speed Up Your Manifestation, which is going to help you in your manifestation journey. And also, if you're looking for a more comprehensive course which takes you through this journey of destroying all your limiting beliefs and implanting some new empowering ones, I have a course called the Manifestation Accelerator, which you can check down in the description box below as well. So let's talk about my journey, how I was able to 10x my income. And right now when I think about it, it just seems like it was pretty normal process, but back then, man, it was like a huge deal for me. Honestly, before I went on to start my photography business, I had already two failed businesses, which were both like online business. One of them was like a social media business, and another one was like this drop shipping business. I don't even want to talk about those because that was a really embarrassing point in my life, because everything that I was doing was pretty much failing at that point. And honestly, I remember at one point I just looked at the mirror and I felt like a complete loser. I couldn't even look at myself in the eyes, because before that I had to like borrow money from my parents who lived all the way back in Nepal, and here I am in United States and I can't even afford my own rent, and I had all these debts using like money for advertising and like buying some camera equipments and things like that. I was like such in a debt that I had to borrow money from my parents who lived all the way in Nepal, and they weren't like really well to do or anything, and they had to share their life savings with me so I could crawl out of that. So I had this immense amount of pressure, not like from my family or anything, but I had this pressure on myself actually. And that day when I looked in the mirror, I felt like a complete loser, and like that was like the most bottom point for me, and I knew I had to get out of there. So when I started my photography business, I had some success. I wouldn't say I was like a total failure, and I didn't even have enough funds to sustain my like livelihood. So I went on to do Lyfts and Ubers, which I kind of hated. No offense to if that's what you're like into, or if that's what you love doing. No offense on that, but that was just not my thing. But I went on to get these side gigs and all that kinds of stuff to sustain my living. But what I wanted to do was really make my business successful, but I just couldn't see a way, to be honest. It was like such a hard time for me, and everything that I did wouldn't work. I had spent a lot of money in advertising, and I had bought some courses, and all these people who were taking the same course were already seeing some success, but I just wasn't seeing any light of the day, to be honest. And honestly, at that time, I was pretty getting introverted in a way. I didn't even want to go out and like hang out with friends, because one of the questions that I always wanted to avoid is like, how's your business doing and things like that. And I even like cut off communication with my family even after taking all that money, because I just didn't know how to answer that, and I didn't want to lie and tell them that, okay, you know I was succeeding or anything. Although like outside, I would just like post on social media and make it seem like I was doing okay. But when it came to talking one on one with my friends or my family, I just wasn't able to do that because that just wasn't me. I didn't want to be dishonest in front of them. So that was like a really, really tough thing for me too. The stakes for me were like very high, and it wasn't because of something outside of me, but I personally had to succeed, otherwise I was just gonna quit everything, probably like pack my bags and go back to Nepal and maybe like try to find some like shitty job back there and do something like that. But I had this dream that I didn't want to forget about, and at that time I was already into manifesting and teachings and things like that. In fact, I was like super into books like Reality Transferring and books by Abraham Hicks. So actually any manifestation books there were, I probably had already read them. Honestly, like they were helping me to some degree. Of course, they were like they had some like good nuggets of information inside of them. But I was missing like one crucial piece, which I discovered when I found out about Neville Goddard. And I accidentally discovered Neville Goddard. Like I had no idea who he was, and I had never heard his name before until like this was probably like 5 6 years into my own manifestation journey, or I had discovered about manifesting and was trying to consciously use manifestation to improve my life. But then when I found out about Neville Goddard, it was when I was actually also trying to manifest my specific person at the same time, which I did, which is totally another story, which I'm probably gonna share with you in another video. So when I discovered Neville Goddard, the first lecture that I heard from him was this story where he shares about his brother Victor, who was able to manifest his dream business, or this building where he wanted to have his own business with his own family name on it. I forgot the name of the talk, but if you know it, please comment down in the comment section below. But that when I listened to that lecture, it basically gave me goosebumps, and I knew that okay, this was the key to my business or my success, in not just my business, actually in everything that I did, because I was doing this thing wrong, because I was not able to visualize my success or imagine my success beforehand, and that was the thing that was really holding me back to a great extent. So I knew I had to go back and like change my certain things that I was doing wrong in my own manifestation journey. So what I decided to do was create this scene where I was working with a wedding client that was almost like a dream customer. I started visualizing working with them, and also on the flip side, I also saw on my bank account the money going up, and there was a time when I would visualize exactly the like the bank statement going up by $10,000. But the biggest problem was my mind just wouldn't stay there. It would just go everywhere else. And sometimes when I was trying to see myself working with my dream customers, what would happen was all these feelings of unworthiness, like who the hell you think you are, like these kinds of like thoughts would come up in my brain and just make me think like, okay, I'm not good as other photographers, why would they even choose me, like I have to improve this and this and this, and all these kinds of like limiting beliefs would come in, and it would totally get me off track. And I would even be scared of visualizing some days, because it would just get me to this like place of just thinking that okay, I don't have this, a place of lack basically, where I just feel like okay, I don't have these things. And that's when I realized that until and unless I was able to address these limiting beliefs that I had, I was not gonna see any success in the visualizing as well. So there was this time where I became very, very introspective. I almost started to go in these meditation rounds, like with a journal in front of me, and I would just examine my thoughts, my beliefs, and see, okay, where is like my beliefs holding me back? When it comes to money, when it comes to like being with like manifesting the kinds of customers that I was aiming for and things like that. I would write them down, and sometimes I would start like seeing these stories from a past where because my father was in the government. He was like a police officer, and he was a really honest person, but all the other people around me were super rich. And I would ask him like, okay, how were these people so rich, like they're not even on the same level as you? And I later realized that they were so rich because they were all like corrupt officers, or corrupt government officials, which is super common in Nepal even till this day, I think. So I equated having a lot of money to being corrupt, dishonest, and being unlikable. And in a way, I even thought that if I earned a lot of money, it meant that like my parents or my family would disown me in a way. So these were all these like limiting beliefs, like nuances that were going on inside of my mind that were kind of holding me back. So what I decided to do was I made these counter affirmations to these beliefs. For example, making money is good because with this money I can help my family who are probably getting older and things like that. So I would repeat these thoughts in my head all day long. Okay, so that was one of the things that helped me kind of like settle my beliefs about money. And from then on, I also went on this process of challenging these beliefs that had to do with feeling unworthy, not being able to handle these customers and things like that, which basically came out from this place of fear of that I wasn't good enough and things like that. So I basically started writing down all these reasons why I was worthy of making money from these clients, why my services were good enough for them, by writing things such as like my years numbers of experience that I had on photography, and how well that I understood this whole like wedding photography business and all these kinds of things. I was able to challenge all of these feelings that had to do with unworthiness as well. And after I was able to create these beliefs, these new assumptions about handling money or feeling worthy and things like that, when I went back to visualize, now I had no problem visualizing whatsoever. And one day I was just sitting there and visualizing my end goal, like as if I was working with my dream customer. And I had this question: what else can I do differently, right? And one thing that popped in my mind was I should probably change the image in the advertising. And that was just a random thought that happened while I was visualizing. So what I did was I went back into my advertising and Facebook page, and I used a different image that had already gotten like a lot of likes in Instagram and Facebook pages. And when I put that in, all of a sudden, like the leads, or the people who were getting attention or attracted towards those ads, were getting higher and higher. And all of a sudden I was getting emails from like more clients and things like that. And it was basically the same set of advertising. Nothing had changed except that picture, right? But just because of changing that picture, it basically started blowing up my email inbox. And what happened after that was I started receiving more inquiries from customers, which was very unlikely because this campaign that I ran for, this advertising process that I was running for, would almost take me 2 or 3 months to get the conversion and get the people working with me. But this happened so out of the blue that these people started contacting me and wanting to hire me for my services very very quickly. And the first deal that I made was about like 5,000. That came within like 2 weeks. Then within another week, there was another client that booked me for about like 3,500, I think. And then another one was probably like 4 grand. And this kept going on and on and on. Within that month, I had probably made about like 12. I mean that those three sales, but it kept going on after that. Honestly, the money part was good, but what was even better was I was able to fix my relationship with my family. And from then on, I didn't have to like be fake and lie to them about my successes and things like that. And not just that, my own self concept was like super up the roof. Like after that, like I didn't really have those feelings of unworthiness come and haunt me all the time, and that helped me kind of in my dating life when I was dating my SP at the time, and which really helped me on those things too. And the crazy part was one day I was going to my work like to shoot this event, right? And it seemed exactly like this vision or this imagination scene that I had, which was based on a YouTube video that I had seen earlier, which was very similar to the location that I had was watching on that video. And even the clients seemed really, really similar to, like who were there on that video. It was actually this wedding gig, and the couples on that video were very similar to the couples that I was working with, and which was really, really like crazy instance, to be honest. But that day when I looked in the mirror, I no longer felt as a failure. I felt like this person who was good enough to be, hired by the clients that I wanted, who was able to be paid like 5 grand for, wedding that wasn't even too long, probably like 10 hours long. Before that, I would charge $500 for the same amount of wedding. And that was the progress, that was the journey that I went through. And the only thing that I changed was I was able to fix my limiting beliefs and start imagining new scene and create new affirmations for myself. So this was that kind of like this package that I was doing on myself, right? But that definitely changed everything for me. And from then on, like on every aspect of my life, I've been feeling confident since then. It doesn't mean that I can just manifest everything that I want just like in a click of a finger, like Thanos can, like just make the half of the world disappear. It's not like that. Obviously, sometimes, the journey can also be like a roller coaster up and down, right? But most times when I think of something, I have it manifest without even thinking too much, and that's the power of your imagination. When you can put your concentration or your focus on your imagination, it's gonna happen so quickly that it will blow your mind. Like in this video, I wasn't able to cover everything that I did throughout those weeks, right? But in my new course, I talk about everything like that, and I even have some meditation and hypnosis videos to help you uncover those limiting beliefs. And through the use of scripting and visualizing, we are gonna be able to implant those new scenes, those new beliefs into your mind so you can manifest your desires as well. And whatever your desires are, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, if you understand the basics, manifesting is manifesting, right? So if you are able to understand how you can manifest any specific desire, you can apply it into your everyday life and manifesting anything that you want. I know it sounds like crazy and too much like positive wishful thinking sometimes, but that's how manifesting works. If you have faith in your vision, that is gonna get pushed out. And with that being said, guys, I trust that this video was able to give you some great insights, not just about like giving you techniques and things like that, but sharing with you this overview of how a manifestation journey is like. That was my goal for this video, and I hope you were able to get something out of it. And if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave it down in the comment section below. And do check out that course, Manifestation Accelerator, if you're looking for this step-by-step comprehensive process, which is gonna help you dig in deep, just like I did, because I had to go in deep in my own journey too in order to find those limiting beliefs, right? And this course is gonna help you get there by asking you some questions, like get you in this like a self-inquiry process, and it's gonna get you there. But with that being said, guys, I want to wish you all the very best. Happy manifesting. Goodbye and namaste.